Hello and welcome to That Saint podcast. This is the September edition. Can't believe it's going on. This season's gone on so fast. It's the end of the regular season. I'm Graham Cunliffe, and it's the September edition. Just broadcasting or recording just after the whole game. And who have we got with us tonight? Well, obviously we've got the usual suspects in. Ste O, the author of That Saints blog you might quite like, which is a highly recommended read for everybody. Good evening, Ste.
Evening, Graham. You all right?
Yeah, very good, yeah. And we've got back from his holidays, his 19 weeks in Spain. Gaz Tinsley returns. Yeah. All right, Gaz, how you doing?
Hola. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Looking forward to it.
He's as orange as Donald Trump now. Yeah.
Great guys.
But you've been keeping up with the rugby, have you?
Yes, well, I've been back for all of September, so I'm fully up to speed now.
Good out. And Steve Beach with us as usual on the button. Steve, thank you very much, mate. That's a thumbs up from Steve. So where are we? Well, it's the end of term, as I like to describe it. We've finished the season. Equal top, bizarrely, which I didn't think was going to happen about 6 weeks ago. We've got the playoffs to come, Eliminator coming on Saturday against the Wire. But thoughts, lads, I mean, 6 weeks ago at the last show in the middle of August, we were nowhere near. We were third or fourth, sometimes fifth, struggling, and then 6 wins on the bounce, equal top, and we miss out on a home draw or a first and second by points difference. What do we think about that, lads?
Well, I think that's an optimistic spin because we're still third. If you look at it, you can call it equal top. At the end of the day, we're still third. We're still going to play an extra round at home to Warrington on Saturday, which is a potential cliche alert banana skin. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think in terms of the form, you're right about that. It has certainly picked up from what there was a few iffy moments certainly in the middle of the season, and at the start when we came back from Australia and we were a bit like, call it a hangover maybe. I think we have improved. I'm still concerned about our style of play, but I think we're certainly still a chance of getting that fifth grand final. My worry is because we've come third, as you say, only on points difference, but still third is third. We now, if we beat Warrington, have to go to France and play Catalan in the semi-final. That's going to be a big ask because we haven't beaten Catalan this season, we're home or away.
Just going back to where we were in the last show in August, it was just after the semi-final of the Cup when we'd lost Walmsley and Parsi we thought for the season, and things were pretty bleak at that point. So I thought, well, there's no way we'd be looking to get in the top six the way we were going at that point. And I think looking at the results and the games we've had, I think we've actually done pretty well. I can't argue with. I think we're on the back of is it 9 games straight win?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that comes on the back of our defence, though. I think our defence is keeping us in this competition. Really, I think our attack's not gelid for me, and it's not expansive enough. It's a bit too predictable. But the defence is so good that it does give you a chance.
I think in that Warrington away game, I saw things I didn't like, which reminded me of Huddersfield in the Challenge Cup final against Wigan, where towards the back end of the game, we wasn't trying to score. The last tackle, we was just like running it in as far as we can to make them come off their line. That's not who we are. You know, we should have been looking to score. We had some great possession, and we didn't look like we wanted to. We didn't look like we was even trying to score.
At least put a kick in.
Yeah, we put a grubber in. It's just like attrition, and like just like wearing Warrington out, and you can't do that against Warrington. And then okay, we jumped in right over after Hoot had gone, and Mbai went in front of us, which was just a fantastic moment. But I thought some of our strategy in that latter half, that second half, was not nice to watch.
It's the style question. You've been banging about this year.
I have been for weeks, months even.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's not, and it's not who we are. And Huddersfield, back to that game, I'm still convinced Huddersfield would have easily won that Challenge Cup final if they'd have actually tried to score.
But again, they were following their process, weren't they?
Yeah, and they got it snatched in the last 4 minutes. Yeah. And that could have easily happened to us at Warrington. When you've got like Matty Ashton's outfield, who we're not going to catch. No. So yeah, it's not been. You're right. You do all too often where the word clunky. It's not been clunky. It's just not been great, has it? It's just been,
that's who we are at the moment. It's not clunky.
Yeah, clunky sort of suggests that we're not quite there, and it's there in background. If it just comes to doesn't look like it.
It suggests there's more to come, and there isn't really. I don't think. But I said this under Wolf, but under Wolf they were at least better at doing it than they seem to be this year.
I think the one positive, if there's any positive, is I felt over the last month that Dodd's been improving.
Yeah. That's fair.
And taking the line on, and great try he scored on Friday night, which if he hadn't made the effort, he wouldn't have got. So I think hopefully he's getting a bit more confident, and he's putting some good instead of these little numbers in, and he scored a few tries as well.
Yeah, he's certainly picked up. Let's have a look at the season to date as a whole, and think about what are our highlights and perhaps our low bits or our concerns, which we'll come to later. But for me, I think the highlight's got to be winning that World Club Championship in Penrith technically before the season started. But to put all our eggs into that basket certainly has affected us in the first couple of months of the year. But what a trip that was!
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the highlights of a few years, to be honest. Not just because we won the World Championship, but who we beat and where we beat them.
Yep.
Penrith, who I think they lost 4 games in 3 years, on their own pitch in front of their own fans.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, never to be forgotten. And I'm not bothered about the next month after that.
No, we've watched over the last few years. We've been doing various shows. We've watched quite a bit of NRL, haven't we? And to actually realise just how good Penrith are, to go and beat them in their own midden.
They're in the grand final again this year. So it shows you what a quality outfit they are, quality club they are.
Yeah.
I think the system that we have, which is one of our favourite bugbears, system that we have allowed us to go over there, put all our energies into that game and win that title, which, as you said, Gaz, means so much, not just this year, but over the last sort of 15, 20 years. It's a big deal to win that. So the system in Super League allows us to do that, and then maybe be a bit iffy in the first month or two of the season, and we still finished third, still got a shot. So if we were able to get to our best now, this time of the year, it wouldn't matter about finishing third. So we've still that's why it's worth. If you go over there, put everything into it, win it, and then you can, think about the future after that.
You're going into that game, that Friday night, you're going into that last 10 minutes, and Salford Catalan's 8-all, and Lee Wiggins 10-6. That's the margins in it. As I was saying, I didn't see the Lee game, but there's a lot of stuff online about Lee feeling that they was robbed. If that try is given, we're not going to Catalan. We've come second.
Yeah,
it's that fine, and so you would, as ugly and horrible as we've been winning every week. And what's also been happening is we've been getting more and more players back, leading to the ultimate shock of Walmsley last week, which was amazing.
It was a ghost appeared.
It was amazing. But when you look at that team sheet last Thursday, and it's 1-13, plus Opawati, plus Hurrell, plus Sirinen, plus Delaney, whose numbers are outside of that, that's the best squad we've had since the squad that went to Penrith.
Yeah.
And I've firmly believed at the start of the season, all through I'll start with my lows, the injuries and the bans.
Yeah.
In the early part of the season, we had loads of injuries compounded by, seemed to be week on week, ban after ban after ban. Morgan knows how many bans did he get. And it was awful, and we just couldn't get a team up pitch. And consequently, we was losing loads of games. But more recently, I looked at that squad last week and thought, this is doable. This is doable. Because I firmly believe that team that went to Penrith is head and shoulders above anything else in Super League. This year, won't be next year, but this year. And so, looking at that squad that came out last week, the belief came back. So that's the definite. But although I look at some players, and we'll talk about the games, and I do think some of our players are a bit battered.
Yeah.
We've played some proper hard games in the last few weeks, but I am encouraged going into the playoffs that it's a bit Leeds-like. We're going in with everybody apart from Parsi. And therefore, are we capable of... The only reason we didn't win games because we couldn't get names on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We couldn't get them names on the field.
Well, we lost a few close games, certainly the Leeds one and the League one, but we also arguably lost them because of people being off the pitch at the time.
Yeah, but
again, disciplinary.
Yeah, we had all them. Matty Lees was getting banned every week and sin-binned every week.
Sirinen got a couple as well.
Sirinen, Matautia,
yeah,
and of course Morgan. And it was like, and sometimes 2 or 3 of them were banned at the same time.
Well, yeah, but Morgan was banned so many times I thought he was getting married. Sorry, I just thought...
What irritates me about the bans, particularly, is that they're always for the same thing.
Yep.
We do not learn. You can't tackle someone late, so you can't tackle it. It's a kicker.
Yep.
Late. Even if it's only a fraction late,
yep.
They're going to ban you now because they're making the game future-proof and ultra safe. And that's just something we have to accept and adapt to, and we haven't been doing it. We don't seem to be able to adapt in that regard, and the consequences are we end up with a lot of bans, like I said.
Yeah. Although lately they're less, aren't they? Over the last few weeks, 6 weeks, they're less.
I was watching the game back today. I did think that I saw Morgan Knowles club someone over the head who got carried off, so I was a bit concerned about that.
Well, I think.
Has he got a ban to me now?
No, he's not banned, he's fine.
Not got any bans.
He's not even. Yeah, Delaney.
I think in the last 4 to 6 weeks of a season, it tends to
reserve game.
It tends to slacken off a bit, doesn't it? With the bans.
Do you think that's because they're thinking, the playoffs are on, attention on us, let's not ban our superstars?
Well, there is that, but I think we certainly did ourselves no favours in that first half of the season with discipline. But having said all that, there's a continuous sort of social media thing that we're getting picked on for this, but I'm not sure that's right. I think we're getting dealt with appropriately. It's whether other teams are getting the same consistency against them as well is the issue.
I think what sometimes happens is people who support Saints or whatever club you support, you watch your team far more closely, so you don't actually know whether the other team's players should be getting banned or not because you're not watching their games.
Yeah. It seems a bit random to me the way players get picked out.
Yeah,
I think,
and it is, as Gaz I think alluded to there. It tends to be the same people, your Metautias and your Siridans that are maybe Morgan Knowleses that are making these late hits and getting the ban, and Lees as well, like you mentioned.
Lees, if we go back to Lees, I think at least twice he got 10-minute sin bins that retrospectively they're like, oh no, we shouldn't have done that. I think sometimes you just pick on players because he is aggressive and he is fast. That one at Lee was a shocker, and then the one at Hull KR was another shocker. The Hull KR one, I'm sure the ref came out later and said, yeah, we got that wrong.
Well, it's no coincidence we lost both them games. Tight games where you lose a man.
Yeah, and some of those games we had like 20 minutes because we'd have Lees off, then we'd have Connie off.
Yeah.
Connie's another one. Connie's had disciplinary issues all year.
He got himself sent off against Leeds, didn't he?
People argue that it's the rule change, but it is kind of the rule change. But they say, you can't avoid a ban these days. What are you going to do? You can't tackle. No, if he's falling, you're going to make contact. But you never see Batchelor get banned. You never see James Roby get banned. There's certain players who have the nous to avoid it, and other players who don't seem to have the nous to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean the likes of Robes, considering the minutes he plays and the tackles he makes, he's doing it right, isn't he? He's why don't they follow?
Let me tell you something else who's doing it right, and he doesn't get banned either. James Bell.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's done brilliant this year.
Tackling techniques, unbelievable.
Yeah. Now we'll come to tackling techniques now, because one of the it's kind of Saints-related, but I've got it in big capital letters here. One of my downs of the season is John Asiata crippling Parsi and Wormsley.
Parsi, Wormsley. He also was responsible for Knowles.
Yeah,
I think there was 4 players that game.
Yeah,
and the fact that they wouldn't deal with that, the authorities insisted that was legal. And there was no rule against it, which may be the case, but if there's no rule against it and you see what damage it does, you make a rule against it. You don't say, we'll sort it out next year and wait for somebody else to get, the legs.
Because the risky rule is, if that's how it's going to be, then we'll coach accordingly.
There is precedent for rules changing mid-season. You remember that rule they brought in about not throwing the ball at the guy in the ruck?
They also change the rules about cannonballs as well.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah. So I don't know where they're coming from, the authorities, in not tackling that. They just let it slide and ignored it.
And I thought Wellens was outstanding the way he dealt with that. And then when they came for him to say, okay, let me know when the hearing is, because I'm not changing my views. He's absolutely right to make a stand.
All the fans of the clubs just thought he was crying and then having a go at him, but he was right what he was saying.
Yeah,
spot on. And I think even Sam Tompkins supported him and said, he is right. and I share the same views.
Well, that sort of thing, I mean, the game's dangerous enough as it is, but that sort of thing ruins a career. I mean, we don't know if Iggy, excuse me, we don't know if Iggy Party's going to come back. And if he comes back, is he going to be the same player?
Well, this is it, yeah, and it's a miracle, like you say, that Wormsley's back so soon.
Yeah.
Can I just say, just joining in here, guys, let me just turn my microphone down just a little. It's ironic, isn't it? I mean, you get tackles like that. Yeah, you see high tackles, inverted commas, where basically you may get a slap across the chin and it's a penalty and all those types of things. And you think, well, hang on, you know, I understand what you're saying and we've got to tidy up the game. But you've got to look at, you know, not just those types of things. You've got to look at the, you know, the types that Asiati was doing. And no disrespect to him, if he's doing that and it is within the laws, then, you know, he will do it. Because I noticed the Bell going in the week after, similar sort of way, in a way you could have easily thought, do you know what, he's taking the mickey now because he knows that it can be done, and let's see what you can do to me. And the logic is, if there's no penalty, there's nothing that you can do. But like Steve said, that doesn't mean that you can't change the rule halfway through, because it has been done.
I think they had to, because to make the game safer, you cannot risk those injuries for 3 months of the season that you've got left at that point and just say, oh, let's hope it doesn't happen again then.
But it doesn't even look right.
No.
How can it be described as a not illegal tackle if he's not even attempting to wrap his arms around it and make it?
It's NFL style where you just dive in with the head first.
Yeah.
Because they've got helmets on, they can do that.
You know, Bell's going in fairness, Bell's going in first man, and he's above the knees. He's coming in third man, flying in with his head.
Noticeable, I think, wasn't it, that he didn't shirt up for the game at Saints a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Asiata. He had a bit of an injury, I believe, but yeah.
He looked all right to me, running on with the water.
Yeah. So there could have been fireworks if he'd played.
Yeah, it was undiluted water, so he's okay.
Something in the water at Lee.
So that's, well, for me, that's one of the downsides of the season. The discipline as well from us is certainly a bit of a downside.
Certainly.
And any other highlights you've enjoyed?
The highlights was what what we've already discussed. I think the lowlights, I don't like also how the Lee chairman seems to be, you know, like last week, Adrian Lamb's not allowed to speak to the press, and you know, far too.
Oh, he threw his bricks out the pram, didn't he?
Far too invalid. I saw a cracking quote about he can't get enough of the microphone when they've won. And when they've won contentiously, which we know they have, a few games.
Yeah.
Was this the Wigan game he wouldn't speak?
He wouldn't let Lamb speak.
All right.
Because they feel they've been robbed. And you think, well, it's just far too involved, really. I wouldn't like to be that coach.
Well.
It's lethal stop, really, have disappointed me, really.
He might have given him the shepherd's hook to stop him getting a ban.
They're like, all I can think of is they've got Sean Wayne running right through the club, because that's how they play. They're a horrible team to play. Horrible, grubby, dirty, at it all the time. I'm not loving watching Lee this season at all. Are they effective? Of course they are.
Yeah.
They've come within a disputed try of beating Wigan.
It's a good effort.
Yeah. So, and they might beat Hull KR, and then they'll have another go at Wigan.
I think that one of the things that I didn't like about them, and I saw this in the game recently at the Totally Wicked when we won, was that they also appeal. Then they also appeal for everything.
Yeah, they're at it all the time.
Like a cricket
constantly
team.
at it. Like a even when if they're dishing out what they're dishing out, but they're also appealing for every potential high tackle and whatever.
Yeah, the phrase we like to use a lot, grubby, the proper grubby.
I think, though, in the interests of balance, I should point out
why do we need balance?
They are a massive success story on the face of it. If you don't watch the game and you see a promoted side that's won the Challenge Cup and qualified for the playoffs, we have been crying out for a promoted side to compete for how long, and they've done it. They've done it in a bit of a dodgy way. I agree with that, but from an outsider looking in, they'll look at that and see promoted teams won the cup and qualified for the playoffs, and that gives rugby league a better image, I think.
Yeah, and they've rejuvenated the likes of Hardacre and Josh Charnley. I mean, we both Wigan and Waddington should look at themselves how either of them ever let him go.
Briscoe as well.
Briscoe, isn't he? Yeah. They brought in some proper experience there in the centres and the wing.
But they've also got great minutes and great work out of the props they've got, because I don't rate them at all.
Tom and Moan's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. The reason we lost away at Lee was the second half. We got beat up at forwards, and it was a shock to me that day. I'm like, what is going on here?
At Lee,
yeah. The second half they ran through us, and I'm like, I just couldn't believe it.
I thought, though, guys, again, that was the consequences of our attack being blunted. Because we had the ball in their half, that first half, the whole first half. But it's like we're okay, we've got territory, we don't need to score, we'll just hang about here.
Yeah, but
and they'll surrender, but they didn't surrender. They
didn't.
They come back and stung us.
That first half, we went 12-0 and we looked like the Harlem Globetrotters. But then I think we got complacent and cocky. And the second half...
It's been a pattern in quite a lot of our losses, that we've just not capitalised on the territory we've had in possession, then we get done.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think we were all over them in the first half of that league game in the cup and got one.
Didn't get enough
points. Got one try, and that was it until the 78th minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's the classic story, isn't it? If you have all that pressure and you don't come away with the points, then that's the type of thing, isn't it?
It comes back to what Steve's been, I would say, eloquently describing or whining about, depending on your point of view. is the quality of our attack. Now, our defence is fantastic. I think we've averaged about 10 or 12 points conceded a game and in a season, which is phenomenal. But we ain't scoring enough. We're not scoring enough, and we're not taking teams apart. Just the odd one where we've done a good job, but we don't look like we're playing with any sort of flair or playing what's in front of us. We're sticking to the same formula.
That's what concerns me, because we're going to be playing against teams in the playoffs who are good enough defensively to stop us, and then what happens then? You end up in a tight, low-scoring game, and that could go either way, couldn't it?
Yeah. That's been the problem.
Which is what happened in the semi-final against Lee, really. 12-10, low-scoring games.
Yeah. Now it's sort of it's not really Wolf 2.0, is it? It's sort of we've carried on playing.
It's kind of an extension of that, I would say. Yeah,
but we haven't actually expanded our attack in any sense. Whether that's because of injuries and changes in the backs all the time, I don't know. But we don't seem to have the key ingredients of a great deal of pace.
I was going to say there's not enough pace in the back line for sure.
Yeah.
Pace we haven't got. I mean, what absolutely shocked me on Friday. And I'm hoping he must have had a knock, was how Hopewati got the shirt over Bennison. And he wasn't even on bench. He must be sat in stand thinking, what have I got to do? Because if you're talking lack of pace, he's your man.
But bizarrely, he's a stats man, Hopewati, isn't he?
He is. He does make a lot of metres. Yeah, he does. He does.
He catches bombs.
But if you turn on the wing, you will make a lot of meters because you're returning kicks quite a lot.
Yeah. But when you've watched like Darren Albert and now you're watching somebody who's slightly faster than me, mum, it's like it's awful.
It's like that gong off that film studio.
Oh.
Well, that was a strange one.
That's a strange one.
It's 12 o'clock.
And at the fifth stroke,
this must go on most haunted. There's nobody in this room with us.
But yeah, so I, as I say, I don't know. But when in the games that matter, surely Bennison will get that shirt on the wing.
Well, Hopewati is among those that are departing. So next
exactly.
year.
He's not no future at the club. John Bennison has. But he's quicker. He's got better balance. He also takes the bombs. You feel safe when he gets bombed.
It just smacks.
I just felt for him.
It smacks of cautious selection, doesn't it?
But we also tried Ritson.
Can't do that in playoffs.
We tried Ritson on the wing there for a while, and he's quicker than both of them. but Wellens doesn't seem to fancy him anymore.
But I think with Benison, you've got more. He isn't as fast as Ritson.
No.
But he's got more to his game. He's got better rugby brain, and he's better defensively. He's got a great step, as Dufty can verify. A great dummy.
Well, talking highlights of the season, that dummy on Dufty sent him out for a hot dog. That was great.
Yeah, but so I think
apparently Dufty managed to actually do his shopping in Tesco.
I mean, for me, I think Benison's future's at fullback because he hasn't got the pace for the wing, and I think he'd make a great fullback.
Yeah, and I think he'd agree with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. But right now, in the playoffs, let's not be cautious and play Waddington with Opawati.
Well,
it will happen. There's no ifs and buts about it, because the simple reason, because of the experience that Opawati's got of big games.
Yeah, but that's almost like Gareth Southgate management. Let's not win, but let's make sure we don't.
He hasn't done bad though, has he? He hasn't done bad though, has he?
Well, that's a matter of opinion with that squad. But yeah, I just think we've got to go and win. Stop being so defensive and dull in attack.
Well, we've built the 4 years on we didn't build the first year on defence under Holbrook, because that was...
They were a very watchable team. I thought that was a very watchable team.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant to watch.
But it's got progressively more dull, hasn't it?
Yeah, until Dodd's Achilles went. That day we beat Wigan 27-2, and it was champagne.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the kid's done his Achilles. We didn't even know in the game. You couldn't tell in the game. And we've not been as good since.
No, because he seems to... He doesn't have that electric... He's not like a sort of electric eel off the mark, is he, anymore? And
I think he's a bit... He must be a bit cautious, because that injury he can do again, as this kid at Hull did.
And Big Grace did it again.
And Grace, yeah.
He did. Lost Grace. And as much as we love Johnny, he's 32. He's not got the pace he used to have. He's still
33 now. I think he's got 2 seasons max.
Yeah, he's got no pace. He don't know what pace is Wells been. Yeah, he's got deceptive pace. As you saw on Friday night.
Well, if Benison does go to fullback, as you've mentioned, if Wellesby hasn't signed for the Brisbane Broncos by then he could be moving to 6 or Todd alongside him.
6 and 7,
when Lomax eventually retires.
Yeah, I think that's the answer, but I think it still doesn't give us any pace across the backs. I mean, Tommy's quick-ish, but he's not got real pace, I don't think.
And also not young, so
Tommy's 30 plus now.
3 or 4 years max.
Yeah, Conrad's about 40 now, is he? And
we need signings there. He goes wing.
But Conrad, he goes through the defence, not around it. Or
so that's the difference. Again, as Conrad came back. The game he came back, smashed straight through 2 guys and sets a trial.
Yeah.
Davis ain't going to do that.
No. I agree.
He ain't going to do that. You're never going to see him do that.
I think the turnaround in our fortune in the last 5 weeks has been Percy.
Yes, I agree.
Different level.
Percy's been outstanding,
yeah. Percy's outstanding. He has got a bit of pace. He runs great lines, and he always scores tries.
Not only that, his attitude has been absolutely coming in, and has been absolutely bang on, hasn't it?
And he must have worked so hard on that goal kicking, because it's improved immeasurably.
Yeah,
but they need to stop him running that ball in with everything he's got and getting smashed.
Well,
it happened again on Friday night.
Well, one more head injury and he's going to be out for 6 months, isn't he?
Just to tell him not to take the ball. Tommy Makinson can do it all night. But Percival running that ball and with everything he's got gets smashed.
I know.
And then he's down, and you think, you're like, oh no, it's like watching old school Tommy Martin. Get up.
It has long since driven me mad that we use our backs as prop forwards in our own half.
At his
it's just insane.
Yeah.
You've got props there, that's their job, give them the ball.
At his golf day, I did suggest he ran in the gaps, but he didn't. He seemed to say, well, they close that quick.
We'll be faster.
We'll be faster then,
Doors are closing.
I love the bones of Percy. I think he's our standout player.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, everybody raves about Jack, but I think if you look at the performances in the last 6 weeks, I think the difference has been Percy, and he's got that 7-iron working lovely for the goal kicking.
Jack is the one though that can do something ridiculously magical.
Yes,
that could win you a game. But he's also, as we've seen recently, got a mistake or two in him.
Well, he started not kicking the ball out at fullback and costing us tries. Now he's started throwing interception passes. So it's a risk reward situation.
Isn't this something that we've been mentioning all season though? Because Saints are, to a certain extent, they're a one-trick pony in people have worked out that, and again we've mentioned it before, it's Wellesby, Lomax, Percival now, and obviously Makinson on the wing. That is the you know, if you look at the stats, I'm sure that's what's garnered most points for Saints. I'm sure other sides have worked that out, and because we've not really got, you know, a plan B to a certain extent.
I think it's who's playing though, isn't it? If we put Sirenen's playing, Connie's playing, other side's an option. But if you've got, and I don't be sound harsh here, but if you've got Davies in centres, it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
The other side's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I think our wingers get the least passes of all wingers in the in the Super
because we
League.
don't go wide very often, do we? It's not. I mean, Makinson had a really good spell recently where he scored about 12 tries in 6 games, but before that, you know, really wasn't getting enough ball to score. He had 8 before that, and now he's got 20 out of a 6-game spell over the season. So it looks like he's had a good season, but it's been the last few weeks that he's caught up, sort of thing.
It comes back to your point about style of play, and going back to like keeping not trying anything on the 6th tackle, keeping the ball 2 yards from the opposition line, not trying to score.
When you're that near to the opposition line, put that grubber through. And stop it in the end goal. You had a guy on Friday night with Jake Clifford. What a kicking game he's got.
Well, that was outstanding, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. But our kicking game, we need to work on that. We need somebody like a Paul Deacon that 5 yards out lands that ball on the floor in the end goal every time.
But every time we get that right, we've scored a try, and we've done it about 4 times this season. Yeah.
But instead, we're doing this power play nonsense of handing it over on goal line without even trying to score, and that just
certainly in the away game that was so obvious that you could see that. It was
terrible.
And another thing before I forget, the other thing that's on the downside for me this year is, why do we only kick it 5 yards from a penalty?
That young kid, you know, we went to Warrington and they had the young kid at 7. He was tiny. He was like Rob Burrow size, if not smaller.
Played yesterday for Wales against Doncaster.
He had a great game. He had a great game, and he kicks like a mule. Every penalty, he's kicking it 30, 40 yards, and I'm going to Eddie like, why can't we do that? We must have somebody. Even if it's Joe Batchelor or somebody must be able to do that.
Joey Lussick could do it.
Joey Lussick could, but he's gone. And now
but even when he was here. But even when he was here, they didn't throw a ball to him and say, Joey, put that over
it's
those
stand.
Types of things. You think, hang on, you look at this, what you've got in your locker here. Get it used.
I go back to the old days. If you give a penalty away against Wigan and Andy Faddle's playing, and it's in his own half, you're on your 10-yard line. You need to take the odd. And Tommy Martin would do it, and you know what? Every now and then, one of Tommy Martins would stay and play.
I think that's the thing. That there's a morbid fear of not finding touch.
Oh, it's frightening, isn't it? We take no risks.
But it's cautious play, isn't it?
Yeah, but 10 yards when it's still going in top at stand could have clearly gone 20, 30 farther.
Yeah. Because if you don't find touch, that's when, you know, fans get on your back, and then momentum switches to the team, and it is a big problem. But
I think you're
right.
There's a halfway house.
Professionals should be able to do it.
Guaranteeing you're going to find touch whilst actually gaining some yards. Danny Brough used to do it, didn't he? Danny Brough would kick it
Danny Brough was a magic at it, wouldn't he? He'd get you out of any sort of trouble. Yeah. Under your own sticks, you're under trouble.
Who was the last player we had who could do that?
I'm going back to Tommy, and Tommy would do it, but he'd get 6 out of 10 because some of them would stay in play.
But
he'd catch it.
It was a little scrum out, the little Aussie scrum half we had. Walsh, he was a significant. He was a good bit better than that, wasn't he? So we've lost something there. Again, that could be down to Dodd not wanting to kick with his.
But it needs
left
development, that, doesn't it? Like, let's all spend half an hour seeing who can.
It's not hard. It's just half an hour practice every day.
It's like the dropouts. Our dropouts don't get past the 40 line. You're like, there must be somebody there.
Well, if you watch the NRL, the short dropout is very much the thing now. They're all deliberately dropping the ball out short and trying to win the ball back.
Right.
That'll come over here eventually. They will start doing that.
It's Tony Smith will bring that.
Because that's the same.
Well, the Hull were doing that.
Yeah, Tony Smith will bring that. They were doing various. We were noticing that every time they kicked off, it was different.
Yeah.
When we scored.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they can afford to do that because the season's over.
They're done,
Yeah. They are done. So, So apart from the World Club Challenge, it's not been a brilliant season for Highlights.
Well, we're still in there. Still got a chance to get in that
We're still in there.
grand final.
As we said before,
But from our talk, have we got a puncher's chance, or have we got a genuine chance?
I think we've got a genuine, realistic chance.
I think it's more than a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I've always maintained all year, if we can get up, that squad that beat Penrith. Not Catalan's squad don't beat Penrith. Wigan definitely don't beat Penrith.
No.
That squad beat Penrith, and last week that was the first time we've seen that full squad since. And we didn't play well on Friday night. But
you see, I think
if we're going into the Warrington game, we're missing Delaney now. But with that squad minus Delaney, we're not missing anybody, are we? Really? We've no excuses.
Doesn't it come back to John Bloody Asiata, because we drop off when Walmsley,
Parsi, two first starting props, yeah.
It has derailed us a little bit, to be fair.
And we got lucky that young Delaney has come through, and he's done way above what you could have expected from him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been LMS time.
Oh, bad news.
He'd have been starting games every week if it hadn't been for Delaney coming through.
Yeah.
Well, let's just tidy up the last month then. We played Hull KR after they'd lost the cup final, beat them comfortably 28-6, which was getting us back on the bandwagon. We went away to Cass, won comfortably 30-0 at half time. Through the second half, 4.
Cass have been a shambles this year. Cass have been a shambles this year. Cass are just lucky that Wakefield exists, really.
Yeah, Cass. Yeah, they have been lucky. Yeah, mind you, Leeds have been lucky that them two were around as well.
Cass have offloaded a load, though, haven't they? I mean,
well, you would look at where they played this year. They should get rid of a few.
The Wakefield thing. Just before we carry on, it's interesting whether Wakefield will adopt the same sort of model as what Lee did. Because I know they're staying full time now. They're going down.
Well, they've started because have they brought Daryl Powell in?
Yeah, Daryl Powell,
and they're already looking at Matautia and various other players.
So.
No, not
Minikin, and
which if you look for, if they're bringing them into Championship, they're probably good in that respect, because it then allow them to. They won't be on huge amounts of wages, and they get the parachute payments as well.
Yeah.
So they'll be looking to bounce straight back, but bounce straight back with basically a Super League squad coming back in, which obviously Derek did it.
That's how he got back. Yeah.
I think IMG bring them back anyway.
I agree.
25 season anyway.
Yeah. Just to rejuvenate in the ground, aren't they?
Because they're not going to find. I don't think they'll find 12 teams with a better licence application than Wakefield.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Wakefield 16, Saints 32 was the next game. Comfortable win.
Yeah.
Then the league game, 22-12. Could have gone either way at one point.
Bit of an epic, that one, wasn't it? Bit of an epic. Great game.
Yeah, good game. Enjoyed that game.
The league game was extremely hard.
Yeah,
if you're talking about, and I've had a pop at Lee, and I might have another yet, but that day, how hard was that game? When you're coming off at full time, obviously the full time players always look a bit fatigued, but our players looked absolutely battered at the end. If you're going to beat Lee, they are proper hard team, and I mean like physically.
Well, they're all big hard pros with nobody else as there's no youngsters in the team.
No, they're we came off that night and we won, and it was tight that game. And I was like, I thought if these beat us again, I'm really going to struggle to get over this. But that didn't happen. We beat them. But my God, the effort required to beat them was massive.
It was very fine margins, because it really hinged on that disallowed try. Briscoe disallowed try at the end there, when I think it was Joe Mellor got his hand to it from a pass, and the video referee just about picked it up. But
thank God for the VAR.
Yes, exactly. They'd have gone in front there.
Yeah,
they would have gone in front there. Was it 16-12 at the time? It might have been.
Yeah, they'd have gone in front.
And then we went and scored.
Yeah. So it was. That's how tight it was.
It was a massive moment. That.
Yeah. That was. I came off that game relieved. But I thought, my word, I don't know, we're going to do well to put a team together for next week, because that was tough.
Yeah.
And then it happened again the week after. I tell you what, in the last month, in fairness to us, we've showed massive character.
Yes.
Massive character to beat Lee, and even more character to win at Warrington.
Well, again, the next game, YS6, Saints 18, didn't finish it off till the end, again, because of perhaps style of play and not scoring.
Again, the
enough
attack.
points. Yeah.
Yeah, we had possession and didn't score. That second half, though, unbelievable defensive effort.
Yeah.
You know, Wellesby, we talk about Wellesby going forward and his magic, but that night he came of age as a fullback. Defensively, he was unbelievable that night.
The try saver, was it on...
where they put him in touch.
Yeah.
Was
Just...
Was it Thulis or something?
It would have been Thulis,
I no concerns about the defence. The defence is
As I said before, the defence is top notch. It's keeping us in the
it's kept us in the
competition.
And I'll tell you what made the difference that night as well, Sirinen coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's a class, isn't he?
He's a giant.
Yeah, really.
We needed size.
Yeah.
Because we were lacking size. No Wormsley that night, no Parsi. And when they go off and we there's points in a game, probably usually after about half an hour, we look small, don't we? We look like there's no size on this field.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so relieved that Vaughan's banned. Because we're still lacking size.
No size and no pace.
Loads of character though and good
certainly done
defence.
well to get where we are, with no size and no pace.
We do max what we can achieve.
Character's going to win us the grand final this year.
You'll have to.
Never right off the Saints.
So, but it's a good win. It's always a good win at the Y. I can't.
Oh, it was. Did you go?
No.
It was absolutely ferocious. As always, as away games go, there's nothing comes near to it.
No, I've experienced that. They hate us.
And in that end, and we sold over 3,000 tickets. And in that, when Mbai went under the sticks, right in front of us all at the end, the whole stand went absolutely berserk. It was magical.
Watching it on the TV, all you could hear was the Saints fans.
All the way through.
They don't chant anything, do they?
No, well, they don't believe. And like the previous time we went, it was even worse. Even Sky was commentating on it. Saints fans are bullying Warrington here.
Yeah.
But we're there. I come across in front of Tesco, and it must have been 7 o'clock. And all you could hear was that end an hour before kickoff. And then you get in it. And it's just electric.
I do know from talking to a number of the lads, it does make a big difference to them and the way they play.
They love that game, you know, and at full time, the camaraderie. I'm convinced that's why Matautia stayed. The previous game, he was just stood there for 5 minutes, just taking it in. And I said to her, he's going, he's taking this in because he's leaving. And then a few weeks later, he re-signed.
Changed his mind.
And he did it again. He did it again on Friday. He absolutely drinks it in.
Yeah.
And it was. But that could have easily gone the other way. So
at one point it could, yeah.
We're getting through on character and extra mile defence. We're not blowing anybody away, are we? We're not.
We won't do now. We're not going to win a game by more than about 10 points. I don't think.
Except
in the playoffs. It's going to be nervous times every game. I think.
It out.
Yeah.
I think
another 5-4.
Not great to watch, guys, but you'll feel like it is because it's so tense.
Yeah.
Because you've got like a dog in the fight, if you like.
Yeah.
But if you're a neutral watching us play, you're probably like disinterested, really.
Yeah.
On Friday, we got past Hull, but didn't get past Hull till the end, really.
No.
Till the last 10 minutes, we pulled away from
I think we had a spell where we scored 2 quick tries on the bounce and that pulled away to about 20 points to 6 or 26-6, and then that was that then, really.
And we got the interception and Jack scored one at the end, yeah.
Friday was a shocker.
It wasn't a great
Jack's second try was a ridiculous effort.
Yeah.
70-metre run through the whole team. That's what I mean about them doing something magical. There's no other player in our team would have scored that try.
He's got deceptive pace. He is one who has pace.
He doesn't look he's going as quick as he is.
I forget one of the Wigan games, and he caught field, or he nearly caught field.
Yeah.
He is deceptively fast, Jack.
He's strong as well. Sometimes even when they get a hold of him, they can't bring him
stop
down.
him. Yeah. I watched that try again this afternoon, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it was right on the hooter. That kid was chasing him, and he was quick. He was the one who scored for them.
Yeah.
And our guys couldn't catch him, but he couldn't catch Jack.
And if you're Tony Smith, you'd probably say shambolic defence.
Yeah,
But I thought it was a world-class try.
Yeah, it was top.
By a world-class player.
Yeah. I just hope some serious money doesn't come in for him.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because
I think it's inevitable there'll be interest at some point. Whether it'll be this off-season or next, I don't know. Don't know how long his contract's for. They'll probably wait until it's expired.
A year to go or something.
Yeah. Just get him for free.
Because what you've got to look at, if you remember a couple of seasons back, Walmsley probably was in this position from a prop point of view. He was smashing everything. He was probably the best prop in the world at the time.
Yeah, even with
he turned the NRL down. So it'll be interesting.
It's not for everyone. You may look at James Roby hasn't been, and he's been world class all his career. So
I think we're always
he could have easily played there.
We've been safe with the St Helens lads. Kieran didn't go. Roby didn't go. Wellens didn't go.
It is a bit surprising.
Jack's not a St Helens lad.
There are rich.
No, he's got a reason to stingers, hasn't he?
There are riches on offer, so it's something we probably have to keep our fingers crossed.
I'm not being
about,
funny. If you're 23 and you've won 5 Super League rings by then, and Challenge Cups and everything, World Club
Championship away from home.
And you can go and live on Manly Beach for 4 times what you're on now.
There is a fear that he's going to think, what else can I achieve here? I might as well give it a go. Well,
we'll have to start showing him shark videos and people getting attacked by sharks and things, and he'll stay in he'll stay in Thatooine.
I'll make him skipper.
Well, there is that. Yeah. Okay, so that's where we're up to. We'll look at the playoffs in a bit. Let's just have a look at a bit of news this week that's come out. Saints released their release list, as it were, this week, with 11 players in total on the list, which I thought was quite a big shift and a bit of a clear out almost. Obviously, the GOAT is retiring, Mr. Roby.
It's going to be strange, isn't it?
It is.
It's going to. We was talking about it.
Let me just do the list. I'll just do the list, guys, and then LMS is turning to the Fire Brigade.
Don't, Graham, I'll cry.
Don't just calm yourself, Steve. Calm yourself. Let's just relax. Calm yourself. I'll come to you in a minute on that.
Okay.
Looks like Will Hopoate is returning home, I think. And then a real bunch of lads who were on the fringe all year, really. Matty Foster, Wes Bruns, Dan Norman, Juma Sambu, Lewis Baxter, Dan Hill, Dan Moss and Taylor Bemberton have been released. Now, there are a lot of kids that were in and around and mentioned about potentially moving up to the first team squad, and that 11 looks quite a big clear out, doesn't it?
It does. The 2 names that I was most surprised about, because I hadn't heard any announcement before that, one is Will Hopoate, who I wasn't sure about, a bit surprised to find that he was going on despite his struggles. I think Wellens does like him, and I would have thought he may well try to retain him. Maybe it's Hopoate's own decision, I don't know. And the other one that surprised me a little bit was Taylor Pemberton, because we are going to lose, obviously, James Rowe. We've got Darryl Clark in. At the minute, we're running with it, Moses Mbai as the backup hooker, but is that a long-term solution? They must have decided they don't think Pemberton's going to be up to it for some reason. But he certainly showed promise whenever I've seen him, which isn't that often, to be fair.
No, I mean, what I'd heard, or the rumour was that he started as a half-back and never quite got to the size that was required for a hooker.
Oh, James Roby started as a half-back.
Well, Robe started as a slip of a lad, didn't he, at 17?
They mustn't
did full-back as well.
They just mustn't think they're good enough. Foster's going signed for Salford.
He has signed for Salford.
But I mean,
Bruce signed to Washington.
Matty Costello there.
But they mustn't think they're good enough. I mean, we can't judge Bruins. We've never seen the lad. He's been here all year. But
Bruins, it's a total mystery to me, that, a Bruins one.
Yeah,
what's that all about?
There's been games where we've been proper out of centres. Connie's out, Percival's out, and we've put all sorts of players in.
Ste O and Ben Davis.
So he's never tried the kid.
No.
So they mustn't believe he's good enough.
So on what basis did they bring him in?
Project.
At the beginning,
he'd be good enough. Let's bring him in.
He must have thought he's good enough, and then through the season thought maybe he's not. Bit like Ritson.
I think Ritson might be on his way sooner or later.
I was surprised actually that he wasn't in there, because I was a big advocate of Ritson, but he's just not had anything given to him. And if you look logically,
I think he's got a 2-year deal, Ritson.
Has he?
I heard.
But
I thought he was only on loan.
He's not on that list, is he?
No, he's not on the list, so you'd have to presume he's staying.
Yeah, I thought he was only
but
on 12
if it's a loan, maybe he wouldn't be on the list, because he's not not our player.
I think he's on loan because they didn't want to pay a fee, and he's out of contract at Barrows. They'll sign him on, which is a bit sneaky.
Bit of a rogue's move.
Potentially that might be the situation.
And you know what? Good, because he's got pace, and if he's third, it's good to have 3, isn't he? And we've had seasons where we haven't had 3.
But he's got pace, but they've not played to that. They've not used it. I mean, like Grace had pace, but he could cut inside. He could sort of go off either foot and get through. Ritson really hasn't done that, has he?
No.
Unfortunately.
But Grace had a 4-year run in the side. He's been in and out, and he's only just come. So you can't judge a player, in my view, on in and out, game here, game there, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see.
But he's had that because he's not convinced the coach that he should be staying in the teim. He hasn't got injured, has he? He's just been dropped, essentially.
Fair comment.
Also, it has crossed my mind how well Adam Swift's played this year.
Yeah, you know what I thought exactly
how nicely would he have fitted in on that left wing at times this year.
Yeah,
I can understand why they let him go, because at the time Regan Grace was nailed down in that position. Yeah. We wouldn't have known then that he would have last 4 or 5 years and then leave, I suppose.
But I don't think you can. We've got 11 going out, and as far as I understand it, Darryl Clark or possibly Matt Whitley, not confirmed as I understand that. That's 2 coming in.
I've heard about Sam Essay has been mentioned, Wakefield prop.
I know it's been mentioned, yeah. Quite like the look of him, big young lad.
Because we are losing Louis, and there's another prop going, or is it just Louis? Either way, we need a prop if Louis going.
We don't know about Iggy.
Don't know about Iggy, okay, yeah.
I think Darryl Clark, I'm excited about Darryl Clark. Well, the last 2 times we played Warrington, he scored last time.
He looks good again.
And he nearly scored another one. He's dancing through the middle of us. He's always been, in the pomp, Roby was the best, and he was the next nearest thing.
He's elusive,
and we might get, he's only 30. We might get 3-4 years out of him, and I think he fits with us. I'm hopefully we can keep him fit, but I think we've made a great choice in Darryl Clark.
Well, it worked with Hurrell. Because when Hurrell came to Saints, everyone, certainly me, and others said, "What? He's not fit enough. He's not going to be playing for Saints. Not good enough." He lasts half an hour and then he starts blowing out of his backside and all that sort of stuff. But Wolves got him fit before Wellens took over, and he's been one of our best players the last 2 or 3 years for sure.
Yeah, so I think Darryl Clark's great. The Matt Whitley thing, fab, but I don't know how he gets again. We see only re-signed and Syrian.
Well, I'm just wondering
because we're so stacked in that area, aren't we?
And Joe Batchelor,
Syrian, and
I certainly hope he's not brought him in as a centre.
God no,
that would be disastrous.
No,
I cannot stand second rows playing centre. It really winds me up.
Does my head in that.
Well, that would be all about defence again, and that's just not what we want. We want strike centres.
Let's work backwards. LMS, a long 11-year career at Saints. 13 is it?
13 years.
Is it that long?
I watched a tribute to him, and they said what about it is with him is in and around the team and culturally he's great, and he's always prone to a knock on or a drop ball or whatever, but I think over the last couple of years he's carried it in and kept hold a bit better.
He has, to be fair.
He's not done that daft off load that he used to always do. And certainly when he was in his own half, you think, why have he just done that? Just take the ball in. And then for the last 3 or 4 years, he did.
Well, I think Holbrook rejuvenated him, didn't he?
I think we should applaud him and thank him and let him go.
But for a man of so little ability, he's had a fabulous career, and he's won loads of medals, and he's been the heart and soul of the club by the sounds of it.
That's the
thing. Which is what every club needs.
Yeah. He can certainly show you his medals, can't he? Yeah. He's the Phil Neville of rugby league.
That is harsh. That is harsh.
Let's go from the ridiculous to sublime then. Roby retiring at the end of the last game at Totally Wicked on Saturday.
It's hard, this one, because it'll just not be the same without him being there. It's going to be like a bit of bereavement in it for the first month of next year, I think, because it's like where is he?
We do drop off when he's not on.
I think that depends on how Clark goes. If Clark is at his best and we're still winning games, and it'll be not so bad. If Clark has a poor start, the narrative will all be about, oh my goodness, we haven't got James Roby anymore.
Yeah. I just hope now that we go on, and it's a big ask what we've got facing us now.
But I actually don't think if he's got any more in him. I think.
Oh no, it's time to go.
It's time for him to go.
Yeah, it's time to go, and he's got the records that he wanted, and he deserves those records and every accolade that he gets. But there's a few passes lately that's bounced in front of people, and you can tell it.
Gone behind people.
You can tell it's time for him. He's timed it right. I don't think it was time for him to go this time last year.
No.
But it is this time this year. Yeah. But he's been
I mean, he's 37 years old now, isn't he? So.
Yeah.
Would you have won that World Club Championship without him?
It's a good question. Possibly not.
Probably not.
Because we haven't got anybody else on that level to play that. It's a key role, isn't it? Okay, so I think.
And it's the experience, isn't it?
The experience and the quality, absolutely.
I saw an interview with Mbai, and he said, it's been an absolute joy to learn from him while I've been here. And he said, you're talking about world-class hookers, and there's only, Cameron Smith and James Roby over the last 10, 12 years.
Well, that's my concern with Pemberton being let go and not being considered good enough. Is Mbai a viable alternative hooker in the longer term.
Or is there a youngster coming through?
Or is there someone coming
They seem to
through?
be
We
really
don't know.
excited about this young team.
Because we had Eves as well, let him go, didn't we? Before that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of
Smith.
talk about him before that, and Smith, yeah. So we're trying a few.
Smith, yeah.
I think it is a bit of a concern that we are looking like an older team now. I think
An older team?
an aging team. a
Are
little
these
bit.
kids getting judged on the two local produced predecessors at hooker?
Yeah.
Roby and your Cunningham. Because you're never going to get a hooker of that quality again, so
No.
you might as well get over that, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
tricky.
probably said that after Cunningham went, didn't we?
Well, we did it and we got very lucky.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it surely will never happen again. Like, not now, anyway. The next one off the rank's not going to be in their class.
never
But
It's got to be.
of the ones playing in Super League right now, I'd have took Clark.
Yes. Yeah.
I quite like Parcell.
I think the sign of Clark is an admission that the next one off the rank isn't going to be as good as
Yeah.
Roby or Cunningham.
At the certainly at the moment, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think that's probably right. Okay.
Who else have we got?
Interesting.
Well, we need to do Opawati.
Oh well.
Good. Right, moving on.
I was kind about Louis. You just waded in there.
Because he'll be on a big salary. Hopefully, we can release that to somebody who will actually play for us on a regular basis.
The interesting thing about Hopoati, I don't think has he lost a game when he's played?
He has.
There's not many.
He hadn't done.
There's not many.
Was he not in that semi-final?
Maybe I don't know if he played. Did he play?
I don't think he's still got that record.
He's not got the record, but
He's only played about 25 games across the 2 seasons he's been here.
well, isn't it long? Isn't it longer than that? Is it 2 years?
He's safe and he's great on defensively, spot on. Going forward, nothing.
He's not a marquee. He's not a marquee, is he?
Well, he's on marquee cash.
He has been hampered by injuries, though. It's been a real kind of sorry tale, hasn't it?
We need to sign somebody with ridiculous pace.
Yeah, we might as well throw all the money we've got up to somebody who's quick.
There's a lot
Have you got anybody in mind?
I'll tell you what winds me up, really winds me up. If you remember rightly, we had probably an absolutely superb centre there in Nagama, and then he went back, and then he's come back to Huddersfield. And I think,
First of all, he retired, then he went to Roosters for a year, and then he come back to England with Huddersfield to play Watto ball.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that about?
There's
To hand it
rumours.
over on tackle 6?
There's rumours flying around, isn't there, about a certain centre with disciplinary issues.
Oh, Mr. Newman. Yeah.
He'd be perfect.
I wouldn't say no for us. I wouldn't
He'd be
say no.
perfect.
Again, it's another one that you've seen at another club having, let's say, flaws, but we have got recent good record of
Turning
that around, and maybe we could do something with him. But he is, when you see him play and the way he behaves on the field, he is awesome, but he's very petulant and silly sometimes.
Yeah, but he
He'll
needs a
get
proper
knocked out of
coach. He needs a proper coach and a proper pre-season.
Yeah.
He's not going to get. He's not seem to be getting that Leeds. So
No.
yeah, he would be for me. He would be a star signing for us.
So it got to begs the question, which I've got up here, is as a gentleman who's out of contract at the moment in Australia,
Hamiso
who's been
Tagalai feed out.
who's been given or possibly been given a 4-year contract with the Super League team.
Who's that?
Luke Thompson.
Luke Thompson.
Oh, is this Wigan?
Would you have him back?
Yes, I'd have him back, and the thought of him going we discussed this a couple of shows ago. Their recruitment
Very good.
is off the scale.
Yeah, I agree.
And if they do that as well,
I think I'm going to have to write to the RFL and have the accountants in.
what is
they've
going on?
recruited.
It's like Warrington times 10.
Yeah.
You know, what is going on?
I don't know if I would have him back, because I think he let us down when he went.
I think he's got too much water under the bridge, and I think his injury record in Australia is
And I think,
appalling.
I was going to say that as well.
Dreadful.
When he's been over there, he's hardly played. He's been like the Hopawati of the NRL.
And if you follow like the Red V here, the Canterbury, the Bulldogs version, they are not very complimentary, are they?
And if you think how much he would cost to bring back, if he is injured out all the time, it could be an expensive mistake.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Could be a Burgess job, could it?
And he sure won't take a pay cut.
I get all that.
Yeah.
I get all that. But the thought of seeing him in cherry and white makes me feel ill.
Even if he performs poorly or is injured all the time.
Well, if you I just don't want him there.
Well,
You don't want to risk it.
Because he could be the old Luke Thompson.
If
and
he gets back
that's
to his best,
frightening.
it'd be a problem,
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. We don't want him there. They've already got Walters. They've signed. They're going to be massive. They're a worry, and they're spending like wildfire.
well, hopefully, that will talking of Wigan and administration issues, that brings us on to the next topic of the stranger times of rugby league and the Academy Grand Final.
Oh yes,
this is an absolute belter.
Do you mean at Wigan cheating, Graham?
I mean, yes. Well, you might want to describe it as that, but
yes,
this is totally bizarre. Saints were due to play Wigan in the Academy Grand Final last Sunday.
Yeah,
methinks
yesterday.
Yes, yesterday, and last weekend they won their semi-final. But strangely, somebody noticed that they'd used twice as many
16
interchanges as they
I think
should have done.
they were allowed 8 and they used 12.
Yeah, and I wonder if...
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
I'm not sure who reported them, but somebody was watching the match and reported them. They got booted out, and then Saints went and...
Well, two things about this.
Walked over wire.
One is, why isn't it being policed by the officials on day?
Exactly, yeah.
And the other is, it's not just one mistake, it's 4 extra players. How do you do that if you're not deliberately trying to cheat? Mm-hmm. I think they should have thrown the book at them and took off points from the first team.
One would have done.
But the other thing is, when you look at that state, and like we've just been having a little bit of laughing a joke about the accountancy type of thing, you think, well, if you can't, get your subs in order, and what's your book going to be like?
Well, it all needs looking at. That sort of thing opens up.
They'll probably try and play Luke in their academy.
Well, it should open you up to hang on a minute, what's going on here? Let's have a look at this. This can't be right. Somebody needs to look up the trouser legs there.
It's blatant cheating.
Of course it is.
From a club who has a culture of cheating.
They've played that game. They've played the game all season. How do they know what's in a semi-final? Using 12.
They know the rules. They're not. They're not daft.
Of course they do. I mean, lots of people have said how sad it was for the kids and all that, but I don't particularly care. I think it's Wigan. Stuff them.
I do feel sorry for the lads themselves because it isn't their fault. But
no, it is.
The club, I don't feel one iota of sympathy for.
No, if you're allowed 8 and you use 12, then that's just a bit. It's not accounting. That's counting. Just counting.
Counting at primary school level.
Yeah.
Stranger times.
We've got to 8. We can't have any more.
Yeah, somebody's got to be hung out to dry for that, haven't they?
But I agree with Steve. The officials need looking at live.
Well, they're taking some responsibility as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There is a fourth ref, isn't there? About a touchline judge. So.
But if you're refereeing a game, you must notice if they've made loads of interchanges.
Yeah.
You might miss one, but 4, it's just ridiculous.
The ref must notice. Hang on a minute, he's been on.
The referee must notice.
Yeah.
I know the referee's got a difficult job.
to do. Yeah.
But I'm sure he would notice more than one
person on 4 times. Yeah. Oh well.
Or make it somebody's job, like the scorekeeper, as well as keeping the score.
There's a fourth official who does all that. I don't know why is.
Don't they give him a card?
They're supposed to have a number of interchanges, and they use them with the fourth
Somebody
official.
said though that there wasn't an official monitoring it, which if that's the case, there's a shambles.
That's a shambles. That's an RFL problem. But there you go. Okay, just one quick shout out to the girls who lost their grand final, semi-final in golden points. Did you watch this? Did anybody see this?
I didn't actually watch it. I read about it.
Matty Smith was doing his nuts for some of the
they decided
on the pitch.
They decided to, this is going back to you, Graham. And should you run it or should you take a pop at goal?
But she had no chance of kicking that ball from halfway.
Give it a due. Her alignment and everything was absolutely spot on, but she was just too far out. There was no. I mean, got to take your hat off to her. She's been an absolutely stellar performance.
Amy Taylor, is it? Yeah. She was great.
But you could see what was going to happen. They're never going to go for a drop goal because they'd had so much success on that left-hand side with that winger of Saints.
They peppered, didn't they?
And hats off to them. I mean, it'd be interesting the final with the York Valkyrie.
It will be. But they've had a good season. They won the cup. And, hats off to them and hard luck for Sunday. So
they'll be back. They'll come again.
They will. Okay, right, chaps. That just leaves us to have a look forward to Saturday, 12:15 or some bizarre kick-off time.
12:45.
Is it? Yeah. Channel 4 and Sky, or just Channel 4?
I think it's just Channel 4. That Sky got the Lee LKR game on Friday night.
But that's mad, isn't it? Lee fans having to go to Hull on a Friday night and then
they should have beat Wigan, shouldn't they?
Well, they should have been.
Then they'd be at home.
Yeah,
they would have beat Wigan, but for a ludicrous TV rule. That ruled that tryout at the end there.
So come on, let's put our cards on the table. Warrington at home, eliminator.
I think we'll do it, but I don't think it'll be. Of all the teams I wouldn't have wanted is Warrington. The other week, was so tight without Williams. I don't know where Williams is in terms of fitness. I don't know what Williams' injury was.
He will make a huge difference.
But you put Williams in that team. The young kid did really well, but you put Williams in that team, and he's like world class on his
day. Do you think if he'd have played at Warrington, they would have probably beaten us?
They would have been. You don't know, but my God,
they've been better, wouldn't they?
Yeah, without doubt. And so they terrify me, Warrington. They always have, and we've played them 3 times, beat them 3 times this year. But it's at our place. It'll be a sellout, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
I don't think so.
No, because traditionally playoff games.
Yeah, you're right.
Are very poor. And don't get me wrong.
I'm on Channel 4. You might be right.
Yeah, I think there'll be a big crowd there. But I think if you look at sort of all the end of season games like that, and I think, hang on. Surely this is
massive.
It's because it's not on your season ticket and you have to pay extra for it.
But it should make the difference. If it was a Challenge Cup semi-final, people would be there for it, wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully it's got a massive crowd. And
it'll be a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
there's no ifs and buts about that.
I think, as I mentioned a couple of times, not having Vaughan is massive for us.
I agree.
Because when we went there, we looked proper lightweight, and like I say, we showed massive character. But he's the standout prop.
We've got Wormsley back, obviously, so that's a massive swing.
That's a massive swing.
Yeah,
because as I've said right from the start of the year, Dudson and Cassiano, 2 shocking signings, which has haunted Darryl Powell.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're both being shipped out at the end of the year.
Wakefield.
Yeah, I was just going to say the panel will go to Wakefield.
They do well down there.
I think Catalan.
I think I got a contract there.
I think Catalan couldn't believe the look when they offloaded them 2.
Yeah.
So I'm not at all bothered about them. And like you say, Wormsley back. So I think, and being at home, I think we'll come through.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be away, but we've come 3rd, they've come 6th.
Yeah.
But they're a massive threat, because what they've got, which we haven't got, is loads of pace. Matty Ashton's lightning, Duffy's lightning.
Yep.
They'll go down that side, because that's what they've done against us every time.
Yeah.
And then they've they're a real threat, but.
There'll be a threat in a one-off game. They're not threatening a league game, but there'll be a threat in a one-off cup game. Well, they'll throw it around as well.
They will,
and that always undoes us.
And Williams is massively unpredictable.
Yeah.
So it's a bit scary, but I think I have to believe and think we'll come through.
I think what they've got that we haven't got is a propensity to self-destruct.
Yes.
And I think that's what will happen. I agree with you. With it being at Saint and Wormsley being back, and he made over 100 metres on Friday night, so he's not far from his best. So, which I was surprised about. I thought he'd be really a bit of a part player, but he had a good dig.
He looked good.
So I think those 2 factors, and the fact that Warrington are, they can blow it with the best of them, as it were.
Yeah.
I think Saints will win this fairly comfortably. I think it'll be more comfortable than the away game we played recently, because, as you say, that's different dynamic because of the atmosphere and all that sort of stuff. And those and our tactics. If our tactics, change,
and the team's better. The team they're all there.
Yeah. I think Wormsley makes a huge difference.
For sure.
Especially because our attack isn't very good. But with him in the team, what it will have is better field position.
Yeah.
Because he gets us down the field.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a massive difference. I think we should and will win on Saturday. That the irony or the difficulty of becoming 3rd is having to go to Catalan.
That is my worry.
After that to get to the grand final, that is almost a bigger hurdle than Wigan for me. Going to Catalan.
It's as big, at least, I would say. I think we haven't beaten them this year.
No.
In 2 games,
we should have beaten them at home, to be fair. But
if I had to bet my last penny on it, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't fancy back in Saints to win in Perpignan. I have to say, not that they're not capable, but I would make Catalan favourite.
It depends on how we come through Waddington. No bans and no injuries.
Yeah.
Then we can go to Catalan and beat them.
But they've got a week off though as well. So
but there's that whole question: does a week off help, or does it?
That's right.
If we're coming out with like 3 players banned, Lees and Knowles and Matautia or whatever,
well, there is that.
If we're coming out with that, then that's going to weaken our chances.
Yeah.
But can we beat Catalan in Catalan with the right names on the field? Of course we can.
Yes.
Can. But I think they'll be favourites.
Yeah.
They'll be favourites. Yeah, because they're in their own ground. I think hopefully the weather's starting to turn, so it won't be stupid 28, 29 degrees. But it's hard for refs though.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard for refs.
It's a difficult environment.
You need
isn't it?
somebody whose surname's Mull in that game.
Yeah.
If you're sending Kendall down there,
Yeah.
we're in a world of pain.
But the other side of this is we're starting this season off in exactly that same scenario where we had to go the other side of the world against a team that were, we've virtually got nobody again.
It's an excellent point, yeah.
So they've got that experience. Whether they'll, obviously, it's obviously drawing on that.
Catalan's not Penrith either.
Nowhere
near.
But if they're using that as let's get to that standard.
But it's
like you
the
say,
time of the season when teams are all at their peak, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday night, 10 minutes to go. It's 8-all at Salford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They haven't gone to Salford and smoked them.
Oh, they're not in great form. You see them play Wigan, they got absolutely smashed.
Exactly.
It's
So
30-0.
we can go there and beat them. It's and then it's what shape does the team turn up at Old Trafford?
Well,
it's a big ask.
But having
isn't it?
said that, if Lee go to Wigan in the other semi, what shape are Wigan going to be in after that game?
That'll be a war.
So that'd be a war.
I don't think they will. I think Ulkeyard will certainly over.
Do you think?
You think?
Yeah.
I think they've run the races run.
I think it is, yeah. And I think Ulkeyard are on the money at the
They've
moment.
overachieved.
Yeah,
They were competitive against Wigan, though. They still had a good dig, like.
But I've just got a feeling Ulkeyard will...
That's a big shift, that, from being 4th to 5th.
Yeah.
And not being at the, whatever you call it, the leopard pen, to Craven Park is a massive shift.
Yeah. And don't forget, it's getting over, like we say, getting over to Hull on a Friday. I mean, we're talking about fans getting there.
It's not even Hull, it's KR.
Yeah.
It's on again.
Yeah.
And they'll be there in massive numbers, won't they?
Yeah.
So
But it's a hostile place to go. I've only been a couple of times, and you do feel intimidated there.
Yeah. So, and no tears. Well, who do I think could go better against Wigan? Probably Lee, because it'd be a war of attrition.
Yeah.
But would I shed any tears if they get beat on Friday night? Absolutely not.
I think Hull are a little bit like schizophrenic, though, aren't they? They can be absolutely fantastic.
They were awful against us after the
But if they're off, they can look really average, yeah.
Yeah, they can look average, but they can turn up on the day and look great. So certainly if what's his name gets flying, quite like him actually. Mikey Lewis, is it?
Mikey Lewis is
great. If he's on it.
But they don't have the sort of defensive resilience that Saints, for example, have.
No.
So they can get by if they're not playing well in attack. If they don't play well in attack, they will probably lose.
Yeah, true.
And Lee are good defensively.
They are.
Lee are just a big, hard, tough team.
They're a
right across the piece. Experienced
old
dogs.
Old dogs, yeah. All fit old dogs as well at the moment, yeah. Okay, right.
But I think that guy Schneider, who they've picked up for the
for the season.
Part of the season,
Yeah.
I think he's dropped him really well, and
Good player.
He could turn things for him, I think.
Yeah.
For KR.
Yeah, very
Good
much.
player. Well, he's gone back to Canberra. Is it Canberra he's gone back to?
I think it's Canberra, yeah.
And this season, isn't he? Yeah.
Replacing the mighty Matt Frawley, you mentioned earlier on, who's signed for Leeds, right? No, I was like, if I could say that without laughing out loud.
Right, well, thanks very much, lads. We will see you again, or you'll hear from us again after the grand final. We'll see where we're up to then, and we'll review the whole season then. But I have to say before we go, thanks to the Sticky Wicket and Ruskin for hosting us, and we'll see you in a month's time. Thanks to Steve, thanks to Gaz, and thanks to Ste O.
Welcome, enjoyed it again.
And don't forget,
But hopefully we'll be celebrating 5 in a row.
fingers crossed. Good. See you now.